Howdy folks, this is Chris with Moshire Vineyard and Ranch, and just out here at a vineyard out in the Carneros and talk a little bit about what we got going out here. This is going to be our 4th year out here, regenerative ag here at this Chardonnay vineyard, and we're going to get a little bit of rain, maybe a ½ inch tomorrow, and we're going to bring in some sheep behind that, and we're going to start our rotational grazing. So we're going to follow this place and several other properties throughout the winter grazing season with the sheep in the vineyard, and kind of show you how we do it, and you know, how other people do it, and talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and hopefully educate you guys a little bit on this, and see how much you enjoy it. So the first thing we'll do is we'll get the guys out here and we'll have them walk this line, this high tensile electrified line, and get this thing resurrected for the season. This goes around 250 acres, and this is how we energize this whole property. 250 acres that we can attach a reel to or netting to any place we want, and quickly build our fencing and move our animals and keep them moving. You gotta move every day in the winter, guys, every day. So check out the benefit from running livestock out in the vineyard and feeding the microbes and growing some soil. Here we are in Northern California. It's October, it hasn't rained yet, and we have green grass. This is all coming from the microbes in the soil and their ability to hold and time release water. And for the water that's coming from the drip irrigation to be able to move sideways in the soil and be taken up and utilized by all the microbes. Folks, this is it. This is how you grow soil. This is how you cut your cost to farm. And this is how we put steelhead back in the river. So I want to take a minute and talk a little bit about what we do that's so different than all the other targeted grazers that come into the Napa and Sonoma valleys for the vineyards. What we do that's different is, it doesn't matter what size the vineyard is. Let's just use a simple math, 15-acre vineyard. I want to break that vineyard up into at least 15 blocks. And all the sheep are going to go into one block. And we're going to move every day. And what we do is we generate 2 weeks of rest. And it's that rest interval that allows the grass to recover. We never strip it off, we just nip it. So the grass easily recovers and grows back in 2 weeks. We're here to grow the grass, not to take the grass out. And that's what makes us different. Everybody else is using these sheep to come in and clean the vineyard up and get rid of all that grass under the vine so they can strip spray and run their mowers and disking and all that stuff. We don't do that. We're here to grow soil. And we do that by growing grass and changing what kind of grass is growing out there. That's a big part of it too. Is, you know, these grasses out here are evolved to be grazed. And so when you put the macro grazer back on the land, you put Humpty Dumpty back together again, this place comes alive. Out here in the Carneros, this is some of the strongest grass west of the Mississippi. You just gotta take care of it. And then you do that, then your farming costs go down. All your pressures, your mildew pressure goes down. This has been a bad year for mildew across the industry here because of the cool weather. And we just don't see the big mildew issues, botrytis issues out here with our program, because we've got grass growing underneath the vines. You know, it's the end of the season. Nobody else has got grass. We got green grass. And that means we got feed. So we're gonna come in here. They just got the Chardonnay grapes off the vine here last week, and we'll have sheep in here next week. And the sheep are gonna be here all winter. And we're just gonna rotate all winter long. That's one of the big differences from us and the other guys, is they're coming in with tractor trailer loads of sheep, stripping it out right before bud break and gone. And they're not even getting 10% of the potential benefit that the sheep have to offer. Where you come in here and you spend the whole winter here, and you're just putting down all that waste, you're just feeding the system. You're just turning everything on. And this place comes alive. It's like National Geographic out here in the winter. Turkeys, I've had mountain lions in here. 2 years ago we lost 2 sheep to a mountain lion. Coyotes, of course, that's to be expected. And bobcat, they're out here. All kinds of hawks and birds and this turkeys. There's probably 50, 60 turkeys that live on this 250 acres that never leave. And it's just a nice holistic system. And when the rains come, I'll be out here filming, showing you guys what's going on. And I'm going to be down in the creek because I want to see how much sediment is going down the creek. People, if you go to your creeks when it's raining and the creek is brown, you are the problem. Figure it out. Change what you're doing. Get that creek clean. When that water turns clear in the creek, now you're making money. Now your cost of farming's gone down. Everything's moving in the right direction. You're growing soil. Everything goes in the right direction. And that's what you want to see, is clear water leaving your property. If you see muddy water leaving your property, that's your money. That's your money going down the creek. Don't do that. And it's not hard. All you got to do is feed the system. Put the animals back on the land, whatever you're farming. Figure out how to do it. Almonds, pistachios, just figure it out. How do you integrate the livestock and the waste from the livestock to feed your system and improve the soil? It's all about the soil, folks. You got to drive that organic content up. You got to get it elevated so that the water is infiltrating. If the water isn't infiltrating, you're losing. It doesn't matter what the total rainfall is. What's your effective rainfall? How much of it's actually going down in the ground? That's one of the things that the vineyard industry is really missing out on, is focusing on the soil and the infiltration rate. If I only had one test I could do, whether it's cation exchange, soil pH, organic content, anything in the soil, if I could only do one test, it'd be an infiltration test. If I know if my infiltration rates are improving, I know everything else is going in the right direction. Carbon content, organic content, soil, cation exchange, pH, everything will be balancing out and moving in the right direction if the water is going down in the ground. And folks, if water is going down in the ground, that means air is going down in the ground. And these are living, breathing soils. They breathe. They need that aggregation in the soil that comes from the microbes to be able to breathe. You want those nice aerobic bacterias, not the anaerobic ones. And you get there by increasing the infiltration rate. And all that comes from running livestock out in the vineyard. You know, there's nothing magic. We're going to be running sheep. There's nothing magic about sheep. I can put 10,000 chinchillas to the acre and get the same effect. We're just feeding the system. That's all we're doing. Oh, there's the turkeys now. They're always out here somewhere, just strolling around. It's pretty nice to see them. See how close we can get. So anyway, folks, I'm going to end this video here, and we'll be doing a lot more on this property and other properties, different stories. We're going to show some properties starting from scratch, right from the beginning. We're going to talk about fencing. We're going to talk about animal husbandry. We're going to talk about soil. We're going to talk about grapevines, wine. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. There's some more turkeys. All right, take care now. Have a good day.